if we go through it in that order, and you can stop me, I think it all starts with the goal, because I don't want to just assume, like, you guys tell me your goal. That's your goal. And for me, like, I want a highly profitable, really well-delegated business that fulfills me, that I love to show up to. I want a really big business. I'm incredibly ambitious. But when you look at the people that have built really great businesses, like 2 weeks ago, I went to Alex Hormozi's workshop in Vegas, who he's one of the business minds I look at as somebody that's just built something like incredible, just one of the best business guys. But one of the first things he'll say is like, what are you willing to sacrifice, right? Because that makes things a lot easier. Like, are you willing to not sleep? Are you willing to not eat? Are you willing to give up all your friends? And I'm kind of like, no, like, I'm not really willing to sacrifice that much, which makes it hard, because I look up to Alex Hormozi, he's willing to sacrifice just about everything, to hit his business goals. And so I still want to have really good mental, physical health. I still want to have a really good relationship with my wife, my kids, my own extended family and friends. I still have high riding goals, high tennis goals of my own. So if you really look at trying to plan a day that moves every single one of my goals forward, it's kind of like there's not that many hours in the day, right? And so it becomes a really hard problem. And so I think I'm the right business coach if you're willing to look at life like that. I think my dad did a really great job of somehow keeping all those things together. Like, he's still a great skier, a great tennis player. He goes to yoga every day. He's still married. Still has relationships with his kids, his grandkids, and he had a good career. But right off the bat, it's like the one thing that becomes really clear is you're going to have to do things smart with your business, and leveraged, and without all of your time, because most riding instructors and horse trainers, people in the industry, it's a mess, because a lot of them spend a ton of time and energy in it and don't even get the money. And I look at their families, and as a husband, it's one thing to have like a workaholic wife who at least brings home some bacon, you know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like, I can think of another guy that just had an incredible career, but his family is all scarred and pissed off that he was never, ever there. But at least there is a silver lining, that there's like multi-generational wealth, you know what I mean? So at least, but a lot of horse trainers, riding instructors, like, there's not even a silver lining. And so I'm like, man, I can totally visualize the arguments in their household where you're like, you're not here. And even worse than that, a lot of them require money. Like, their businesses lose money. So their husbands are like giving them money, don't see them, And so I'm kind of like, I sympathize with the husband. So that's why this program exists, to be like, how can you guys be a little bit smarter about this and accomplish all that?
Per year?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now. But what I say is, start with what you're not willing to sacrifice. Start with your goals, right? And then for me, like, if I can find a way to do more than that, I will, right? It's not just hit that goal and stop. It's really as big as possible without sacrificing the other parts of my life, because those parts are more important to me, I feel like once you have a roof over your head and you're not getting wet, it doesn't really move the needle for me to have a bigger room than I'm living in, or, I don't know. I'm not like a foodie. Like, I have food and I'm warm. So if I lose the family, or my mental health, or my physical health, like, if I sacrifice all the things that I've been wanting to do with my life, traveling and all that, like, at a certain point, it's just not to be like the biggest business guy of all time. Like, most of the business guys you look at, they sacrificed all that. I read Phil Knight's autobiography, Who Built Nike, and yeah, of course, he sacrificed everything. He did nothing but, it was so important to him to sell shoes that consumed him. So his whole family is pissed off that he never really, but there is a silver lining, right? But one of his kids did basically commit suicide. And so look back at that and like, there's not enough shoes in the world. I think once you have your goal, and it should be clear, and like you should tell me or tell your coach, what is the goal here? So we really orient, because I too often I just assume your goal is the same as mine, build as big a business as smart as possible and not sacrifice these things. But you guys might have, some people are like, well, my goal is smaller, and I'm like, well, that's fine. It's fine if your goal is smaller than what we're capable of producing. That's like somebody being like, look, I just want to post a trot, and here you are, you're like a Grand Prix rider. But if they're willing to work with you, like, you should do it, because that's going to be a piece of cake for them. So one thing I've really learned, what's hard is like, okay, so your goal is probably, entrepreneurs live in the future. So you've got to kind of be able to see that goal, visualize that goal. And by definition, like, who you are isn't enough today, or you'd already have the things. So what's really hard at this point is you've got to become the person that can accomplish this goal first. And you have no evidence of it, at that point. And so you have to sort of take action as if you were this new person that's able to do it. And one shift I've been looking at, because I went to, my sister's like a mindset coach. And so I went to one of her retreats in Sedona 2 weekends ago. And I've been kind of preaching, become a new version of yourself, become somebody different. What she argues is that person you already are. And so it's not fake it till you make it. It's, there's a cool saying, it's like, it's basically you already are that person. But either way, it's different than how you're acting and showing up today. And I really think it's important to really look at your goal every single day and to have a system and a manila folder that just beats into your head the goal and who you're going to be able to come. So you should have that vision board. You should have it really laid out who this person is, what they believe in, what they do every day. And I have a process to go through all that and pound it into your head over and over and over again. I turn mine into a video and I read it to myself. It's about 10 minutes long, and it's all these images and all these things as if I am that person that's accomplished all these things. And I listen to it once or twice a day. I think the magic number is like 60 days before it really starts to sink in, but might as well overdo it. And so, I think if that's all you guys did and you left, it would make a huge difference. So don't neglect the goal and the mindset pieces and doing something tangible to really improve that, because it's super powerful. And when I was in rehab, they made me list my priorities of, okay, career, family, friends, sports, physical health, goals, all that. And they were like, okay, but you guys all know, because you're all in rehab here, that if you lose your sanity, which everybody in that room had, like, you lose everything. Just poof, gone. Like, pretty quickly. You'll lose your career, the family, the friends, you'll lose it all. So you got to put your mindset, your mental health at the top of the list.